On behalf of Adventures Panama, I want to welcome you to Panama through the Chagres River, 3-night itinerary. Chagres is well known as a travel trade route thanks to its Panama Canal. 6% of world trade passed through it, but way before that, it was used by the Spaniard conquistadors as a trade route to move the gold they looted in South America from the Pacific to the Atlantic in its way to Europe. If you see it from the map, it's the narrowest section of the America. It's located right in the middle. It's a little hard to see, but the mountain range are at its lowest altitude right here, and it's almost impossible to see unless we show you what makes this possible, which is of course what will make sure that you see with your own eyes, the Chagres River. The Chagres River, contrary to most rivers, doesn't flow directly to the ocean. It flows along the isthmus collecting tributary, and then when it's very close to the Pacific and Panama City, about 20k, it changes course to the Atlantic for the rest of its 60k. The Spaniards didn't delay on observing this and made it their trade route, moving gold by mules from Panama City to Gamboa, where it changed course, the river changed course to the Atlantic here, and then continue on boats to the Atlantic, and from here to Portobello, which is the export dock where they gather their gold, and it will be the last destination of this itinerary. Later on, to build the canal, the river was dammed at Gatun Dam, creating Gatun Lake 85 feet above sea level. But the canal doesn't need the Chagres River only for a water channel. It needs its water because it is the motor that makes possible to move ships up and down Gatun Lake and the oceans at the locks, as we'll see later on. Well, we'll start this in Panama City and we'll take you to its main attractions. Panama City was the first city built in the continent by the Spaniard conquistadors. However, they choose a terrible place to do it. It lacked of for its growing population. It was very hard to protect, as they later found out, and they had bad luck. It was totally destroyed by an earthquake, by pirates' raids, and later by a fire that devastated the city. And that's when they gave up on rebuilding and decided to move to what's now Casco Antiguo. Casco Antiguo was also the settlement of the French that attempted to build the canal before the USA. And you can see in its building the exquisite architecture, which is contribution of the French. Full of narrow street, plazas, cathedral, restaurants and bars. It's definitely a place to visit while you are in Panama. Later on, the center of the city moved with the growing population, and tall buildings and skyscrapers emerged. Panama is among the top 3 cities in America with the tallest building. And it all started with that first tower I showed you, which is a bell tower of a cathedral built in the first Spaniard settlement. Tonight we're going to take you to sleep at La Semilla Lodge, located in Cerro Azul Mountains, about an hour from Panama City. It's closer to Chagres National Park. It's 700 meters above sea level, so it's fresh, not cold, but fresh, and also close to the Continental Divide. La Semilla Lodge has 7 rooms. We are 10 persons who will use another property located at the lake at the bottom of the screen south of La Semilla. It's only 15 minutes away. We have dinner and breakfast together, and those staying at the lake will go there only to sleep. Next day, early in the morning, after breakfast, we are going to start our expedition to Chagres National Park. The park was created in 1985. About 85% of the screen that you're looking at is the park, 130,000 hectares. And its mission is to preserve our main treasure, which is not gold, it's water. To get there, we'll be riding a boat for about 30 minutes along the ridge of the Continental Divide. We'll 4x4s for another 40 minutes, and we'll hike for another 3 hours, and hills. We'll be traveling light. We only take a rafting gear and supplies. We'll finally reach Chagres River by noon, and after lunch we'll start going down the principal in a raft. I can guarantee that you won't see another raft. Maybe you won't see another soul, because we are the only ones doing this in the last 27 years. And take into account that I have been doing this since I'm a teenager. We'll go down 18 kilometers for about 4 hours, and we are going to reach our campsite around 5, just in time for a loud concert of noisy parrots, one of the biggest attractions of the jungle. We'll have and a bonfire under the stars at the camp, and next day after breakfast we'll go farther downstream in the Embera motorboat piraguas. They will take us to their village. The Embera migrated to Chagres about 3 years before I started scouting it, and they came out of Darien, the dense jungle by Colombia. They found here paradise because it was very close to their habitat, but very close to the city. They are very proud of their culture, and they will share with us their culture, their handcraft, dances, the way they live, and even their food, because we are going to have lunch here. After lunch, we are going to keep going north to visit Agua Clara, Panama Canal locks. Um, Ships were growing in size and they could no longer transit the canal. They were doing the route around the Americas, and we wanted that business, so we expanded the canal in one of the biggest civil engineer projects of recent years, and we were very successful. We had a business and we're getting a very good return on it. The site in this place is amazing because you will see uh, Gatun Lake, which is Chagres River Dam, and the different height of the lake and the ocean. While the ships are transiting the locks right in front of you. We'll be here about an hour and a half, and then we'll go to our last destination, Portobello, which is the export dock that the Spaniard built to gather their gold in their way to Europe. It's a protected bay, protected from the elements, not from the pirates that later found out about it and tried to get their gold. So the Spaniards had to fortify it with cannons, and they had so many cannons that a crossfire made it impossible for pirates to take Portobello from the water. It's also home of the Congo culture that we'll get to enjoy. Tonight we're going to stay at Bongo Hotel, which is very close by and in front of the ocean. Its infrastructure is very inviting, and yes, if you want to get a sunset swim at the Caribbean, you can do it. Let's take a look at Bongo here. Next day after breakfast, we're going to take you to Albrook Airport in Panama City to get your flight to Pedasi. It's about 2 hours drive from Bongo Hotel. So we have to depart by 8 to arrive at 10 to get your 30-minute flight to Pedasi. In Pedasi, you're going to meet the rest of the group. And do you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
And you are going to meet the rest of the group and have a common agenda, as Gabby just explained. And then next day, you will be transported to Gamboa Rainforest Resort, right in front of the mighty Chagres River in its confluence with the Panama Canal. That's the presentation. I hope you enjoy it.